Welcome to For the Love of Books, a podcast by Lanarkshire Libraries.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Lanarkshire Libraries podcast For the Love of Books. My name is Chris Wilson, the E-Services Librarian for Lanarkshire Libraries, and for today's episode I thought we'd take the little chance to focus a little bit on one of our libraries in particular, and we're going to head to Coatbridge Library and talk to the librarian there, Thomas Clark, who has been involved in lots of fantastic events that are kind of local to that library in particular, with one or two also kind of happening a few other libraries too. But there's sort of loads of great stuff happening in the library above and beyond all the sort of maybe kind of regular events that people can associate with the libraries, such as like Book Bug, the national event for sort of 0 to 3, 0 to 4 year olds, and also things like book grips and things like that too. So I thought I would catch up with Thomas to find out a little bit of things that are a little bit off the beaten track, a little bit that you might not have heard of, you might not realise that libraries are doing or involved in, and gives you a chance to find out a little bit about it and see if you're interested in coming along and taking part. So without further ado, here is Thomas to tell us a little bit more about various events that are happening or have happened recently in Coatbridge Library. So, Thomas, thank you for coming back on our podcast. You've been on it a few times now, so you're not new to this. So, I thought I'd get you on to talk a little bit about Coatbridge Library because, like all libraries, it's a pretty wonderful place to visit, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely is, Chris. And thanks so much for having me back on. I've been working at Coatbridge Library for 18 months now, exactly a year and a half, and it's just a breath of fresh air. I love working here. I'm never sorry to be here. Every minute that I spend here, I thoroughly enjoy, and I think that's true of everybody who works here and everybody, more importantly, who comes here to use our services, whether it's to borrow books or to use the computers or to participate in our events. I just think it's a smashing library. And the only downside to Coatbridge Library is not enough people know about it because it's not quite as visible as some of our other libraries because we're part of the Buchanan Centre. So getting the word out about Coatbridge Library and letting people know what we do here and all the exciting stuff we've got getting on is really important to us.
Yeah, as library folk are quite passionate about our library services, aren't we? And it's always a good opportunity to promote them any way possible that we can find. So it's good to get a chance to talk about a lot of the stuff that's going on. And most people will probably know about most of the kind of standard library events, things like Book Bug, which is a national kids event for 0 to 4 year olds. And sort of book groups for adults and things like that sort of stuff. But I thought we'd maybe try and kind of catch up and chat about some of the kind of maybe lesser known things that's going on in Coatbridge Library at the moment, and or kind of in the recent past or in the coming months as well. So and I thought we'd start off with your community jigsaw that you've started doing there. The current one's a bit of a monster, isn't it?
Aye, sure is. Well, we started, apparently this is something before my time, before the pandemic really. We used to routinely leave community jigsaws out for everybody to participate in putting together. And we've been doing that again for the last couple of months. We've been building up. We've been 250 piece, 1,000 piece, and they're really super popular. Everybody, customers, staff, everybody loves them. And Jenny, our library assistant, who, as you well know, participates in the other podcast, Bees Books, Jenny had been keeping her eye out for a bigger challenge for folk, and she found one, which is an 8,000 piece jigsaw.
That's incredible.
It is crazy. And when I first saw it, Jenny came in with it under her arm, and I was like, is it the same size as 1,000 piece, but the pieces are really wee? And she was like, no, it's normal size pieces, but there's 8,000 of them. And she stuck together, literally with tape, stuck together 2 of her big tables, measured it out and said, this is going to fit this whole 2 table spread when it's done. So we're the community and occasionally the staff are working together on getting this thing up and running. We've done maybe about 1,000 pieces of the middle. The whole jigsaw is what it is it's a kind of, I think it would have come out at the turn of the millennium. It's a year 2000 jigsaw, and round the sides of it has got going round in a kind of wee spiral towards the middle. Every 10 years, it's got the most important event of that 10 years depicted in a wee cartoon. So starting with the year 0 and going all the way up to the year 2000. So we've got the middle, we've got the year 2000, we're putting together the wee bits and pieces outside the year 2000. So right now we're trying to get, we've got like the American Declaration of Independence is coming together. We've got Einstein's theory, it's Einstein's theory relative, not theory relative, we've got Einstein, we've got, is it Mozart, we've got Mozart. We're putting together all these wee bits and pieces and we're trying to spread out from the middle. So if there's anybody, because this is, like you say, it's an absolute monster, if there's anybody out there who's bored, has got a few minutes, hours, days on their hands and doesn't know what to do with it, pop into Coatbridge Library and give us a hand, because we're getting there now, but if to start with, just finding one piece out of 8,000 and putting it in the right place could be half an hour's work, could be 3/4 an hour's work. Now it's down to maybe about 10-15 minutes worth. We need all the help we can get.
It's fantastic, and we have been sharing the kind of progress of how it's been going on so far on our social media and things like that as well. And folk are really interested in seeing it, so we'll continue doing that, I think, as we go on as well, and see how it progresses. I'm just interested to see how long it'll take the North Lanarkshire community to do an 8,000 piece jigsaw together, because I don't even think I've ever seen a jigsaw as big as 8,000 pieces before.
I didn't know they existed, and as for how long it'll take, well, I can say hand on heart that we have people who are coming into Coatbridge Library. In fact, the other day we had somebody who was waiting outside before the library opened to get in. They came in and they worked on that jigsaw from 9 in the morning till I think maybe it was about 3 in the afternoon. I'm not sure if they had a lunch break, bless them. But we've got people who are coming in specifically to work on that jigsaw for hours on end. So we've certainly got the man hours getting put into it. I don't know how many man hours it'll take, but
I was really genuinely surprised whenever you sent me one of the first kind of updates of how much that had been done on it, because I genuinely thought it would take quite a long time. But like say, the kind of 2000 section in the middle has been completed now, and that alone I thought would take ages. So it was quite impressive. It only kind of probably took about a week to get that first kind of part done. So. Well done. Well done to everyone who has taken part in that. If you're listening and you have put together one of those pieces in Coatbridge Library, well done to you, and keep on going. So that's good. Moving on from the jigsaw, Coatbridge Library also offers a group called Tiny Tales as well. It's aimed at a slightly older age from BookBug, but it's every bit as much as fun as that as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about Tiny Tales for us?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Well, Jenny and Parry from Bees Books podcast, they're the architects of Tiny Tales. And where the idea for that came from, I think, was, well, probably partially just an excuse to do dinosaur themed stuff because they're right into the dinosaurs. But the other reason, I think, is because when kids become too old for BookBug, which is eventually they do, regretfully, but when kids become too old for BookBug, they don't really have obvious things to graduate to from there. And we don't have obvious things that are kind of BookBug adjacent. So what Parry and Jenny do with Tiny Tales is something that's like BookBug, very like BookBug, but for a wee bit of an older audience. So, there's singing, there's rhymes, there's reading out stories, there's physical activity. It's very, very much like BookBug, but just scaled up for kids that are maybe that wee bit older, 4+, really. And it's going really well. Because as you know, BookBug is so popular. Hugely popular with across all libraries, not just Coatbridge. Hugely popular with young people and with their parents and adults. And so it's a shame when people become too old for that, and there's a chance they're just going to drift away and never come back to the library. It happens. It can happen. So we want to give people a reason to keep coming after they're too old for BookBug. Are you ever too old for BookBug? I mean, maybe no, but.
Tiny Tales then is kind of almost like graduating primary school and moving on to high school a little bit.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like BookBug. It's like BookBug, but just a wee bit more sophisticated.
Fantastic. And I know from some of the stuff that Jenny has sent in the past about Tiny Tales, it does look really fun, and there is also the occasional dinosaur thrown in there for any dinosaur fans as well, which most kids about that age there's usually a little bit of an interest in dinosaurs. So and we'll come back.
Sorry, Chris, I should say, before, unless I make it sound like it's just totally dinosaur dominated, every week is a different theme. So there'll be one week where the theme is dinosaurs, and yeah, all the songs and rhymes and stories will be about dinosaurs. But there'll be another week where the theme is space or something else that kids are very interested in space. I'm surprised by how much kids are interested in space. That's something that I thought had maybe faded away over time, but no, our kid books about the galaxy are always in demand.
Yeah, no, I think there's always, I think those kid topics are a bit timeless for kids. I think like dinosaurs, space, and I think there's always kind of cartoons and TV shows and things like that, and books, of course, that kind of reinforce that kind of interest all the time for them. So I think it's a bit, they're always a bit timeless and always kind of capture the imagination a little bit of the kids as well. So it's good to see there is that kind of little kind of new session at Coatbridge for anyone who's kind of a little bit too old now for BookBug, but still got something to come along to the library as well. Now, one of the most interesting things, I think, kind of one-off events that we've done quite recently has been some live streams of the Edinburgh International Book Festival events. And after a wee bit of an unfortunate start to the ones that we had planned to do, we had a couple of really great events from that, didn't we?
No, that's absolutely right. I got the unfortunate start, of course, was the very first event we planned on doing, and as far as I'm aware, this is the first time we've done this in North Lanarkshire libraries at all.
I think so. Yeah.
So this would have been the very first event that we've done like this. Was going to be Judy Murray's event about her new tennis-themed novel, and unfortunately it got postponed, and we weren't able to stream the rescheduled event because of conflicts with other things. So that we were all built up to have this event, and then it didn't happen. But then the first event we did have was Katie Dugdale and Leslie Riddick talking about Leslie Riddick's new book and about Scottish politics, and it went really well. And we had a good number of people along for that. But the third event, or what would have been the third event, the second event, was Liz Lockhead, who obviously is one of our local patrons.
One of our own.
Exactly. One of our favourite daughters. And so we had it was totally set out for the Liz Lockhead event, and I wasn't sure because obviously you think, well, people think poetry maybe isn't that popular or important nowadays. You don't know what kind of audience you're going to get, but you can see from the event itself that it was absolutely rammed, and here at Coatbridge we hardly had a seat to spare. So we were really pleased with how the live streams went, and it was something we spoke to Edinburgh Book Festival, because obviously, they're doing the whole thing. We didn't want to try to step on their toes. We said, like, is it okay if we stream these events for our communities? And they were really keen, they were really enthusiastic. They were like, yeah, that'd be great, and we'll make sure you get a wee shout out for doing that. And so we thought, well, not everybody can get to Edinburgh for one thing. It's so busy, it's really stressful just to get there during the festival. It's really stressful to get them to be there. As it turned out, both the events, the Keswick Dugdale and the Liz Lockhead event, were sold out. So if you weren't fast, you were last. A lot of people who came to our event said they wanted to go in person, but they hadn't been able to because they hadn't been able to get tickets. And of course, not everybody's got the internet or a computer or the technical know-how to be able to live stream these things at home. And last of all, there's something, the whole point of the festival is to meet and to engage with and to be part of something bigger than yourself. Yeah. And so I don't think this live streaming experience is the same if it's just you in your house with your laptop on your knee. And I think that it really brought something to have 10, 15 people in one room together watching the event the same way they would have done if they'd been physically there. So it's definitely something I think we'll do next year.
Yeah, and actually thinking about it a little bit, like that kind of, thinking about the kind of smaller setting of it with maybe kind of maybe 10 or so folk in Coatbridge, it maybe lends itself better a little bit as well to kind of having like a wee kind of chat about it and things like that as well, because you probably maybe not get a kind of sold out big event in Edinburgh. So maybe that kind of just obviously you can't talk to the author or whatever, the presenter and things like that, but just amongst themselves, you can have like a kind of discussion about the event or what's been brought up at it and things like that as well. Which is kind of a wee unique kind of part to the event.
You don't go to a Les Lockhead event with 400, 500 people, who knows how many were there, looked about 400, and expect to make a new pal. That's not what you go there for. But if you come to an event like this, like you say, and there's 10 people there, 15 people there, a lot of people were coming to the events with a couple of friends, but there were people who were coming on their own as well. And so they were, afterwards it was conversation, it was animated conversation sometimes, both the ends of the screen were really, really thought-provoking, and there was discussion, and everybody really enjoyed it, and I think there were people coming from far field, well, it's far field by Coatbridge standards anyway. We had people coming down from Cumbernauld and up from Motherwell for this, so new faces that we've never seen in Coatbridge Library. We might go again until next year or whatever, but it's always great to have new people here.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, there's something that we can kind of look to do again in the future if there are any kind of live streamed events for any of the kind of like major national events that are about. We can kind of look to maybe possibly do that and bring those events a little bit closer to North Lanarkshire, which is always great.
Absolutely, that's not something that we could have done. There's not been many positive things that come of the pandemic, but that is one of them, the opening up of events, literary events particularly, to live streaming.
Yeah, and it's good to be able to kind of use that technology and kind of bring it into the library and kind of get used to that thing. And one of the we'll move on to kind of one of the things that you have also kind of recently started up in Coatbridge, and we've also got one now in Cumbernauld as well. You were recently at the Salt Conference, and for non-library people who might not know what that is, basically a chance for librarians to all meet up in a big place and talk about all the fantastic things that happen in libraries all across Scotland and share ideas and things like that sort of stuff, and chat about how cool libraries are basically, and shout out to the Salt Scotland team who do a great job setting these conferences up and allowing libraries to kind of share their ideas. You got a chance to go along this year. I've not been there for a couple of years now, unfortunately, but I think this year you got to find out a little bit more about Warhammer clubs, and you have since started one at Coatbridge. So what sort of activities can anyone come along to the Warhammer club at Coatbridge, and also the one at Cumbernauld as well, you expect to find whenever they come along to that?
I know that was one of the things I was really looking forward to at the conference, because Dundee libraries do a load of stuff around Warhammer and tabletop gaming and Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of thing, and that's something that I've been really keen to do here, because there are places that have got dedicated spaces or dedicated shops that are all about Warhammer or all about tabletop gaming, and Coatbridge and I think Cumbernauld don't have those kinds of spaces, so I thought it was something that would be really, really good to be able to offer here. So what we did is, Warhammer sounds quite big and intimidating, but it's really there's like different levels of rules. So I hadn't played Warhammer since I was a kid, and I still hadn't really played Warhammer much, but there's very basic rules going all the way up to quite advanced rules. So don't get put off if you think, oh no, it's war game, it's far too hard, it's far too complicated. We're not playing it at this super complicated level, we're playing quite a basic level. So what we do is we put together the actual figures. You get your figures with space marines and orcs and stuff. We got a whole wheel of them, got like 50 odd of them that we've been putting together as a group over the last few weeks. We're painting them as well. We've got I should say nobody has to bring along their own stuff. Warhammer is quite an expensive hobby. I get that's super expensive sometimes, but everything that we do is provided free of charge. It's free to come, it's free to participate, it's free to do everything. Nothing costs any money. So I've been painting the models, which is quite quite an experience. If you've got fine motor skills and real attention to detail, a very good eye for detail, then it's great. If, like me, you're just, a bit of a lumbering footer, then it's a lot harder. Swapping on anyway. The young people are obviously, they've got great attention, so, they're doing the wee, but, they're not just dunking the whole thing in blue, they're doing the badges in different colours and then the details on the badges and stuff. So we're putting things together, we're painting them, and we're playing Warhammer, most importantly. And Warhammer's, like I say, it's a tabletop game, and it's a tabletop game, it's a war game. There's two different Warhammers. There's Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And Warhammer 40k is the one that's set in space, and that's the one I think most people know. Warhammer Age of Sigmar is the kind of fantasy one with orcs and whatnot. And we learn the rules together. That's the most important thing. Like I say, we're playing with more basic rules, but even that's something you have to learn. And we're helping really to. We've got a mixture of people who are totally new to the game. Like, we've got people who've never played Warhammer at all. We've got young people who know the game pretty well, but struggle to find other people to play with. We've got a lot of people who've heard of Warhammer. Like, apparently there's the kids at our group have been telling me there's going to be a TV series of Warhammer, a Netflix series of Warhammer with Henry Cavill, who apparently Henry Cavill's a big Warhammer fan, a big Warhammer player. So apparently that's something that's going to be happening. Since Warhammer's quite famous outside of being a game, and a lot of people hear about it and then find out that it's a game and want to learn the game. So that's what we're doing. We're building up slowly. We started off with wee skirmishes with just one or two people aside. We're now working our way up. Last week we had 10 aside. We had 10 orcs versus 10 Space Marines, 10 versus 10 Space Marines. We're going to keep building up until we've got a whole war. It's about the size of 8,000 piece jigsaw, that's tables full of this stuff.
Fantastic. I hope we've got enough tables for Coatbridge for all these fantastic table events that we've got going on.
I know, man. Tables are like hen's teeth here, people are fighting. Because as well as the 8,000 piece jigsaw, we've still got our smaller jigsaws, I should say, just in case anybody fancies doing jigsaw, but is a bit intimidated by the idea of devoting their whole life to it. So we're still doing smaller jigsaws. And actually, that's another thing I should probably mention, Chris, that I think a few other libraries are doing, not just us, but we've also recently started offering a few board games for people to play when they're coming in. So we've got a table that's got chess and drafts and Connect 4 and Guess Who, a couple of other games if anybody fancies coming in. They're actually very popular. People forget how much they know about drafts and chess. Everybody vaguely knows how to play them, forgets all about it, and is really interested in it again when they see a drafts board.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things I think about libraries recently is kind of allowing people to come and play either kind of the proper tabletop games like Warhammer or the kind of sort of more traditional games like chess and drafts and things like that. It's nice to kind of just provide that space for people to come in and just relax and have a bit of fun and enjoy playing these games. And Warhammer in particular, I think, is one of these things. There's lots of aspects to it that as a hobby that if you enjoy painting, there's that as part of it. If you enjoy the actual playing the game part, there's that. There's also lots of Warhammer books if you want to kind of enjoy the kind of storyline behind the idea and things like that. So there's lots of aspects to it as well.
No, that's absolutely right. That's one of the joys being able to provide the Warhammer Club, because there's so much to it. Like you say, not everybody's going to be interested in. Some people might prefer to paint figures to play in the game. So there's people out there, people might prefer collecting, people might prefer getting into mythology. And we've got magazines that we give away to the new members of the club that have got a lot about the mythology and the backstory of Warhammer, and got wee short stories in them about the Space Marines and whatnot. So there's so much to it,
Yeah, it's fantastic. And moving on a little bit as well from that, bringing back to books a little bit as well, is the Coatbridge also the place that we have where you can go and join our shared reading group. Some people might not fully understand what shared reading is, so I thought I'd give you a chance to kind of really give a wee overview of what that is and what the group is about, things like that.
Sure. Well, like most libraries, we run book groups here at Coatbridge, and book groups are great. Book groups are really popular, and they bring people together. But some people are put off book groups because they don't think they've got the time to commit to reading the whole book. And obviously, if you don't, or if it's a book you don't particularly, you're scared of reading a book you don't particularly enjoy, or whatever, people feel like they can only go to the book group if they've read the book, and if they can't commit to reading the book, that means they can't be part of the book group, which is true, obviously, but that's how people can sometimes feel. So shared reading is a bit like book group, but without the commitment of having to read stuff in between times. We get together, we read through together as a group some short stories or poems, or recently we've been doing play extracts. Nobody has to read out loud if they don't want to, of course, but everybody's encouraged to read at least a bit out if they feel like they're up to it. Nobody's done any reading beforehand, nobody's done any prep beforehand. We're all just coming completely fresh to these stories and poems and plays, and reading them out together and having a wee blather about them. Nothing massively in depth. A lot of the time it's stuff that is totally new to everybody. There are sometimes do old favourites, do the poems that everybody remembers from their childhood, or a short story that everybody's read, but a lot of the time it's something that's totally new, and we have a wee blather about it. And the main thing really is the community aspect of it, the social aspect of it. It's something that I think that a lot of people who come to our shared reading group really value it for a structured way to meet and see other people who've got similar interests to them, but without having to devote hours of reading time beforehand or afterwards. Because everybody feels a wee bit kind of weird about coming to a group and saying, oh, a book group, and saying, oh, I haven't read the book, but I'm still going to talk anyway. You know, you feel like it kind of disqualifies you from having an opinion or saying anything you haven't read the book. And shared reading's not like that. You know, everybody just rocks up. You read the story there and then with everybody else. If you want to read it about yourself, you can. If you don't have to at all. And afterwards, everybody's got something to say about it. Everybody's got equally valid opinion. So it's brilliant. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the opportunity to hear what other folk in the group like reading and what they enjoyed and didn't enjoy, and what they'd like to see more of in the future.
I think it does sound like a great session, and like I say, it does kind of take away that sort of your factor of not having finished the book and things like that here from a traditional book. I mean, I know as somebody that actually used to lead the book group in one of the libraries, whenever I hadn't got finished, but I felt terrible at trying, especially being the host. Sorry, guys, I haven't finished this book, but and then try to continue the conversation with it. But so having that kind of the ability to go and read the book at or story, short story at a session, and then everyone's at the same pace, everyone's at the same place, and they get to kind of have that wee chat about it and stuff like that. So it's like a really great event to come along to, especially if you do struggle to kind of find time at home to kind of put it together hours to read a whole entire novel. It gives them somebody still the opportunity to enjoy a bit of reading in the library, and almost like a kind of mini version of a book group, but almost in a kind of short kind of spell, which is really nice.
I guess it's the opportunity as well, I think, to read something totally new, or to experience something totally new without having to make a huge commitment to. You know, there's so many great authors out there, classic books that we've heard about that we all think we should have read, and we're probably never going to read. And none of us would commit to 1,000. You know, nobody would want to commit to reading a 1,000-page novel by Dostoevsky if we weren't sure if we were going to like it. But we can all commit to come along to a group like shared reading and reading a 5-minute short story by Dostoevsky. And the worst that can happen is we don't really like it, it's not for us. The best that can happen is we say, this is good, I'm going to have a go at that 1,000-page novel. Yeah.
It's almost so maybe kind of do it like that, like almost a taster session for authors to see if you fancy reading a little bit more under their works and things like that, which is nice. Now, as we mentioned earlier on a bit, there is a few Dino Mad staff at Coatbridge Library, and as you mentioned, they are led probably mostly by the Bees Book podcast host, Jenny and Barry, who are pretty dino mad as far as from what I can tell. You've now got your own dinosaur member of staff called Daisy, haven't you?
We do have it. Well, we didn't know she was called Daisy until relatively recently, actually. But yeah, we've got a dinosaur. Some people, Chris, and I'm not going to point fingers, but some people are saying it's actually a member of staff dressed up as a dinosaur, but you and I know better. It's an actual dinosaur member of staff in Coatbridge Library. And that poor dinosaur had no name to begin with, so we had a competition amongst our younger and sometimes older customers to determine a name for that dinosaur, and just recently we unveiled Daisy as the name of the dinosaur. But we got so many good suggestions that we thought, well, maybe Daisy's got a relative, so we think that we're going to be employing another second dinosaur in the not too distant future. So there'll be news about that, I imagine, and a few photos going up on social media over the next wee while when we finally lure our second dinosaur member of staff in Coatbridge Library.
Fantastic. And with October week rapidly approaching, Jenny did discuss to me a little bit at the Coatbridge Library. I was going to be a bit dinosaur mad, a bit of a dinosaur themed week for that. So I know you guys are still probably planning a little bit of that, at this point. But is there any kind of sneak previews as to what might be coming along for Dinosaur Week at Coatbridge Library during October week?
I've kind of sworn to secrecy on this, but I do know that certainly from the past, from the kinds of things we've done with themed weeks in the past, I know there'll be dinosaur-themed crafts, there'll probably be dinosaur-themed book bugs, I would imagine there'll be dinosaur-themed tiny tales. I think there'll be a lot of this kind of stuff that we do over the course of the year, but dinosaur-themed. But I cannot confirm or deny what exactly those things are going to be until near the time. I know one thing I do know and I can confirm is that they're going to be a lot of fun.
Fantastic, that's fantastic. And we look forward to finding out a little bit more about what will happen with Dinosaur Week during October week at Coatbridge Library. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic time for all the kids to come along to get involved in during that week. Thomas, it's been fantastic to hear all the fantastic things that's going on recently and still happening at Coatbridge Library. Thank you for coming along and telling us all about it. And everyone, I'm sure there's a wee bit in there for all ages really to kind of get involved in and come along and hopefully try something new at the library.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Well, there you have it, guys. There's been loads of great stuff happening in Coatbridge Library recently. If you love jigsaws and get along and take part in the massive community jigsaw that you guys have got going on down here, there's also all the great things such as the Warhammer Club or shared reading events, and also you can look forward to Dinosaur Week during October week as well. That sounds like it's going to be a fab time for any kids that love dinosaurs, and I'm sure there are tons of you guys out there who have got kids who love dinosaurs. I know that my kids are dinosaur crazy, and I'm sure there's plenty of other kids out there that are as well. Other news from some other activities that are happening throughout some of the libraries. We have got a whole host of new trips events happening at both Cumbernauld and Airdrie Library at the moment. If you do visit our website at cultureneil.co.uk/libraries/watch-on-libraries, I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but you'll find it there. And if you just check out for watch, go to the website, look for the What's On page in the library section, and you'll find it. And there's lots and lots of great events happening both at Cumbernauld and in Airdrie for new trips events over the next little while. Code Club is also back in some of our libraries. You can check out that and see if your little ones want to get involved in that. There's clubs at Coatbridge and Motherwell and Wishaw at the moment about to kick off, and the fantastic opportunities for kids to come along for sort of age 7 to 12 is the recommended age for that, and it's a great chance to come along and learn some basic coding. They get to create little animations and their own little kind of fun games and stuff like that as part of clubs. It's a great experience to do, and a great skill for them to kind of learn as well over the next little while too. Coming up very soon, as well as National Playlist Day. And for that, we will have a special podcast going out the day after Playlist Day. And we will also be launching a new playlist for National Playlist Day as well. So watch out for that and do submit your songs to that as well. I think it may be for your favourite song, but we'll check back in near the time to make sure that that's definitely the list we do. And you can submit your song for that on the playlist page on our Oxford section on the library website too. So that's another thing to check out. Other than that, we have joined Threads as well. Anyone who is a social media junkie, a bit like myself, will have jumped on Threads as well. So do check out our usual username, YBCNL, to follow us on Threads as well and get your social media library news straight to your new Threads feed as well. So go and check that too. That's all for now, guys. Do watch out for the next Bees book edition coming out next week. And check out any of the past episodes of the podcast as well. If you have missed any too, they are all worth listening to, and we appreciate every single one of you listeners. If you have enjoyed this episode, do leave us some feedback using our hashtag FLB or by dropping us an email to librarypodcast@northland.co.uk. And until next time, it's bye for me.